welcome to Tea Time Talks with me, Dan Weiner, Trust and Estates Attorney here in North County, San Diego. And I am here today with a very special guest, Sean Ross, who is a serial entrepreneur, as well as being the father of 4 small children. So where you find the time to come and do this, I don't know, but thank you, Sean, for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. Well, I'm honored that you selected me out of everybody to come on and talk and have tea time with you. So cheers to tea time.
Cheers to you too. Thanks for bringing your tea and your Canadian mug.
I got to represent. Come on. You
got to represent. And I know you hail from that part of the world. I'd love to hear just a little bit about you, your background, your family, and how you came to be the founder of all of these businesses.
Sure. Yeah, happy to jump into it. I am a proud Canadian, and I got to wear it and represent it because I don't have a fancy accent like you. So I'm more American sounding. But yeah, I married my high school sweetheart, Carrie, and she's in all the businesses with me as well, and so we work hand in hand on a daily basis. I think you can relate to that a little bit, Dan, with you and Miriam.
I can. It's wonderful as well as having its challenges.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's more wonderful for us. If you ask them, it's probably more challenging. But yeah, no, we have 4 kids. We got into business really 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. Right after our first child turned 1 or 2, actually 2 years old, and just kept growing and trying to figure it out along the way. Live in San Diego, and just trying to find that balance between managing 4 children, being a husband and not a roommate to my wife, and running our businesses and making sure they stay successful.
Any tips for finding that balance?
One of the things that I've been doing, actually, Carrie's been forcing me to do it, and it's really healthy, and it's forcing myself to stop working after a certain time. And when you're the business owner, all the problems come back to you at the end of the day, right? They always come back to you, and so no matter what it is, how big or small, it always finds its way on your desk. And I always made myself available 24/7. And I was able to do that, earlier on, but now with 4 kids, it's not realistic. It's not fair. And I don't think it's healthy. And so I've been cutting off after a certain time every day, and actually been leaving my phone in my bedroom so that I'm not tempted to look at it and hear it buzz or hear it ring. And it's actually been really refreshing, and it feels really good. So that's a tip, I guess.
I like that. That's a good strategy. It's so tempting to be ingrained in work and make the kids feel like they're an afterthought. So anything that can be done to avoid that, it sounds like you're pretty focused on. And a question for you: Have you always known that you wanted to have your own businesses?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure I really thought about it as a kid. I wanted to be a baseball player, right? Like most children, they want to go and, be some type of athlete or performer of some sort. Unless you're like that whiz kid that knows they want to be some type of surgeon when they're 10 years old, but that wasn't me. I think it dawned on me after college when I got into my career. I just realized that there were so many opportunities. And I think this is probably one of the most defining things between an employee and an entrepreneur. And even just an entrepreneur and a business owner, because there are business owners that aren't entrepreneurs either. And I'd say that defining line, at least from my perspective, is if you see an opportunity, what do you do with that opportunity, right? And I saw an enormous amount of opportunities come across, my desk when I was working for the world's largest sports nutrition company, and we just kept passing on them. And I tried to bring that to the business I was working with, and they just weren't able to adapt and make the changes like an entrepreneur could. and be able to pivot and react quickly. And so, it was frustrating for someone like me that was just like, man, we're passing up all these great opportunities. And I decided I just couldn't do it anymore. And I needed to go into business for myself. And so I think that's probably the defining element that I've noticed through a lot of my interactions with other business owners and entrepreneurs out there.
Interesting. And Pure Boost is one of the more well-known products that you've created and that you've been involved in founding. How did you, has nutrition and healthy living, has that always been a part of your psyche? Because I know a lot of your businesses are focused in on that area.
Yeah, I think being an athlete was always something that I was interested in, right? Wanting to perform at the highest level. But, as a kid, I still wanted Chips Ahoy cookies and Snickers and ice cream and all the junk food. So even as a high school athlete, I don't think I ate the best and didn't really take nutrition that seriously, but it was always something that was in my household. And my mother and my grandmother were always, very involved as it related to what was, new and cutting edge and what was good for you. And my grandmother followed a doctor from, 1950s and 60s called Dr. Edward Casey, who was one of the pioneers of alternative medicine and, looked at nutrition and diet to help overcome and prevent, different types of diseases, whether they're age-related or genetic. And so it was always something that I was exposed to, but never really took that seriously until I got older and, kind of fell into the industry that I'm in today.
Great. And is Pure Boost kind of the main business that you're working on right now? And what are some of the others that have current issues that are taking up your time?
Sure. Yeah. So all of our businesses are in the health and wellness space. For me personally, I want to be able to create products that help improve someone's life in one aspect or another, and hopefully extend their longevity, right? Extend their life, because nobody wants to get old and be dealing with a lot of challenges and issues that are related to their health. And really, it's how you treat yourself today is how well off you're going to be in the future, right? And so if we all had this crystal ball and we said, okay, if I take this vitamin every single day, what am I going to look like when I'm in my 60s and my 70s and my 80s and beyond? I think people would make a change, but it's hard to make a change to something that has no impact in the immediate future, right? You don't see a shift, but drinking alcohol every single day, it's a no-brainer. What's going to happen to your liver over time. So there's just so many things. Now that's an extreme, but there's so many things that you can change today. And so I think any little adjustment, like including a product like Pure Boost into your daily routine, which is a multivitamin that has caffeine from green tea, is just a great, it's a great add-on to your daily routine. So instead of, having your tea without any vitamins, you can have your green tea with all your vitamins and nutrients that, will help fill in those gaps, where you're not getting it from your daily nutrition, your daily diet.
And I know that you're a huge advocate for supplements, and I'm curious, what would be the top three? What are your top three favorites?
So let me preface what I'm about to say. I'm not a medical professional. I'm very passionate about nutrition and wellness. And so I'm very well studied in that area. I continue to research it. I read clinical research studies on a weekly basis because it's something that, I'm very passionate about. And I want to be able to pass that on to everybody around me, whether they're in my family, in my community, my friends. So just keep that in mind that, the information that I share with you, just don't take that as a replacement for professional medical advice. I'm not going to be diagnosing or treating anything. So
thank you for disclaiming all liability. I appreciate that.
There you go. So 3 is tough, but I'd say the first thing for sure is a multivitamin. And like what I was saying about Pure Boost, everyone should have a multivitamin just to help fill in the gap of what's missing. I mean, you would have to be a perfect eater on a daily basis to give your body every vitamin and mineral that you need in order to sustain a healthy balance throughout your entire body, and to prevent yourself from potentially falling ill to any type of, diseases or infections or viruses that are out there. And so I think a standard multivitamin is number one above everything else. If you can't take anything else because you're too scared to swallow pills or chew anything, like, just take a multivitamin, and that checks, I'd say, 70-75% of the boxes of what you need. Number two, I'd say, is probably the second most important thing is fish oil, and specifically DHA. And DHA is really crucial for brain function, vision health, regulating inflammatory phenomena in the body. And there's actually a recent study that I read a few weeks ago that indicated that DHA may have the ability to slow down the development of tumors. And it showed that at high doses, it was actually a poison to tumors, which was just absolutely fascinating. And so I think, fish oil that's specifically high in DHA is an absolute essential in everyone's diet. The third one I'd say are probiotics, and everyone's heard probiotics. I mean, probiotics is pretty hot right now out there in the marketplace, and there's a lot of different types of probiotics. The most important thing about probiotics, I'd say, is that it helps improve the overall health of your gut, which I would call like the train depot, like Grand Central Station in New York, right? And that's really the pathway to all of your organs in your body. And so what goes in your gut really serves as that pathway to every element of your body, right? Every organ, your blood cells, everything. And so if your gut's healthy, then the rest of your body should be pretty healthy as well. And so, probiotics have also been linked to reducing age-related diseases, genetic diseases, potentially helping with some type of cancer treatments as well. And so I would say probiotics are absolutely essential. And there's a lot more research coming out with probiotics and what they can do for your overall health. I'm going to add a fourth one because I just can't hold back.
Okay.
Because of what's happening today with the coronavirus, immunity is so important. And if you were to take one ingredient to help with your immunity, that would be vitamin D3. And there were a lot of studies that came out over the last year and a half with a lot of coronavirus patients that fell vulnerable to the virus, and unfortunately was fatal for them. And the data came back showing that they were deficient in vitamin D3 and significantly deficient in vitamin D3. And so I personally take 5,000 IUs a day of vitamin D3. If I don't go outside, I take 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 so that it will help my body fight off or give my body the best chance of fighting off any type of virus or infection that I get.
Okay, well, that's quite a diet of supplements for us to be thinking about. But you've clearly found something that you're passionate about, and you've created businesses around that, and you've had tremendous success. And I know there are a lot of people that I speak to who have an idea, they have something that they're also passionate about, but they're hesitant, they're reluctant to take the plunge into the world of becoming a business owner. Do you have any tips, any pieces of advice for anyone out there listening who's in that boat?
Yeah, that's a really good one. Well, first of all, I've got to say that what helped me was just my support system. My wife, my family, my friends. I was terrified of leaving my corporate job. That was, it was a great job, full benefits, that people would dream of having. And so the idea of giving that up was terrifying, knowing that I had one child that was 2 years old, and I had another one that was going to be born a week later. And I ended up quitting and starting my own business.
How did you make that mental leap to be able to get there?
Well, one thing that comes back to me, besides everyone supporting me and telling me that I could do it, you are your own biggest critic, right? I feel like I don't believe in myself as much as other people do, right? And And so that was really supportive. But, Carrie said something to me while I was in this phase of trying to make these decisions of what I was going to do, stay in the corporate world or start my own business. And she said, look, worst case scenario, it doesn't work out. You go get a job and you get back to where you are. And I was like, you know what? It's that simple. I said, let's go for it. Let's take it a chance. Let's take a chance, Well, let me share a quote with you. One of my favorite quotes. It's I call it an entrepreneurial quote, but you may interpret it differently. It's by Napoleon Hill, who's, a very well-known self-help author. He said, some people dream of success while others wake up and work hard at it. And, that to me really defines an individual in the workforce. And I was working with a lot of coworkers that didn't care. They cared about clocking in and clocking out. Yeah. And they didn't think about the business afterwards. They didn't think about our clients afterwards. And so that's what pushed me to go out and start my own business, was to surround myself with people that really cared and were passionate. And so, if you're out there thinking about starting a business, I think it's okay to start something, and it's totally fine if it doesn't succeed. If you fail, yeah, that's okay, because you're going to realize through that experience that you're capable of doing so much more. Just like I was capable of starting a business when I didn't think I was able to do it. So, you take your learnings, your newfound confidence into the next business that you start so that you have a greater chance of succeeding. And right now is really the best time. I mean, this is the gig economy. It's the virtual workforce. Places like Amazon and Pinterest are exploding. It can't, I would take the chance, take the plunge. What does it hurt? You throw a few $100 or $1,000 into something and test it, and you might be surprised. You might not be making more money than what you're doing with your day job. So that's the advice I'd give as it relates to getting out there and starting your own business.
That's fantastic. Yes, take the plunge, and if not now, when? I think that's great advice. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much, Sean, for joining me. I know how incredibly busy you are, and thank you for sharing all of your experience that you've had creating businesses and the challenges. And I know people are gonna be encouraged by the words of advice that you gave. So thank you so much, Sean.
My pleasure, Dan. And I hope everyone that's listening to this got something out of it and is able to pass it on and share, because life's too short. We gotta live in the moment, and we want to thrive. So Dan, you're awesome. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Sean.
See ya.
Bye-bye.